Hello, dear friends, everybody. Good day. So, today we are on the part 4. Okay. So, let me change the subject. For example, we will remain, of course, on the Genesis book or Genesis chapter of the Bible book, but we will start to the creation account, or we will go back to the creation account. Okay. From the Garden of Eden, we go to a further instance. For example, Genesis 1:1 and 1:2 and 1:3. Okay, that's how the Bible begins. Genesis 1:1. The Bible begins with the words, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." So in some Bible it is plural, heavens, and some Bible it is singular. Whatever. To continue, it says further, "The earth was barren with no form of life. It was under a roaring ocean covered with darkness, but the Spirit of God was moving over the water." This is Genesis 1:1 and 1:2. Okay? Now, the above, the Genesis account in the so-called Old Testament, and after 1500 years, let's say from Moses to John, okay, appeared the so-called New Testament. Now, the book of John, that's in the almost end of the Bible, where John says in first chapter, let's read first, chapter 1, verse 1 to 4. "Before the world was created, the Word already existed. He was with God, and He was the same as God," the Word, okay? "Through Him, God made all things. Not one thing in all creation was made without Him. The Word was a source of life. What was made had life in union with the Word." Now, the New Testament says the Word was the source of life, and through Him God made all things, and not one thing in all creation was made without Him. If so, why does the Bible say at Genesis 1:2 that the earth was created with no form of life? Right? The New Testament says not one thing in the all creation was made without life, whereas the Old Testament says that the earth was created with no form of life. Therefore, it is proved from the two statements that the God of the Genesis 1:1 of the Bible is not the creator of our world. Now, Genesis 1:2 reads, "The earth was barren with no form of life. It was under a roaring ocean covered with darkness, but the Spirit of God was moving over the water." It says the earth was under a roaring ocean covered with darkness. Hence, what was over the water was darkness. As darkness was the only thing over the water, the Spirit of God was moving over the water was darkness alone. Again, it is proved that the Spirit of God of Genesis 1:2 of the Bible was or is nothing other than the darkness. Okay? Now let's go further. Jesus proclaims in John 8:12 that "I am the light of the world." And Jesus concludes in Revelation chapter 22, verse 13, saying, "I am the first and the last, the beginning and the end," where he says, "I am the Alpha and Omega," whatever people may know this. Now, Jehovah made light at Genesis 1:3, says the Bible. Then the God said, "Let there be light," and the light began. Jesus says he is the light, and he was there from the beginning. But according to Genesis 1:2, the darkness was there before light began. Therefore, once again, it is evident that the darkness of Genesis 1:2 and the so-called light or Jesus are one and the same. So these are the, Genesis 1:1, 1:2, and 1:3. The first three statements or verses of the Bible book is a fraud. It's all lies. So I can understand why many free thinkers or otherwise thinkers, logically thinking people, they deny this creation account as a mockery, as a laughing stock. So this is how it is. You see, so even the scientists, there are of course a lot of scientists who believe in the Bible book. But anyway, this is the question of the future, a debate. So getting back from the account of Genesis to Adamic story. The word Adam is Hebrew, which means red earth. That itself is very awkward. What is the meaning? What does red earth symbolize? Or what does red earth stand for? Whatever. If the blood, for example, if the blood falls on the earth can turn red, isn't it? So whatever. It's a bloody earth. Red earth. Okay. So to continue, so this is what happened after they ate the fruit of knowledge. Their eyes were opened and they realized they were naked and they were sewing the fig leaves around to cover their nakedness. And this Jehovah did not like that their eyes were opened. He wanted to keep their eyes shut. Now, the Bible book continues saying in Genesis chapter 3, verse 22 and 23, "Here is man become like one of us, having the knowledge of what is good and bad. Now he will stretch his hand and gather from the tree of life as well, eat it, and live forever." So this should not happen. So he drives them away from the garden, and he kept cherubims, the so-called infantry of Jehovah, the army, on all the sides of the garden gates, so that man could not enter the garden. You see? So this is the God of the Bible. He is anti-man, anti-world, anti-everything. And such an entity can be none other than the masked enemy of mankind, or the wolf in the sheep's cloak. You see, there are two trees in the garden, right? One tree was denied access and other was open to access. The tree denied was called the tree of knowledge, and the tree opened was the tree of life. And both of the trees are planted or placed in the middle of the garden, according to the report of the Bible book, or the Genesis book of the Bible book. So, when Adam and Eve, imagine they would walk around the garden and they would eat from all the trees except the tree in the middle. You place something on the middle of a table, you cannot escape its presence. It is an obsession because it's in the middle of the table. But it is death represented. If you eat that tree in the middle, from the tree in the middle, you will die the day you eat of. So this fear of death, the entity called death, was anyway looming on man's mind, because Jehovah has implanted the notion of death. If they eat, they will die. How can you die if you have knowledge, especially knowledge of good as well as bad or evil? Why does Jehovah ban the knowledge of good? It is a good thing to have the knowledge of good, isn't it? I'll take a break, dear friends. We'll continue again. Thanks for listening. Take care, all of you. Bye.